It's time for the Techthusiasm Live podcast!
That's what I call an entrance.
Time to go live.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Monday afternoon, early evening, depending on your time zone. Monday, 5 o'clock, November 10th, Techthusiasm Live podcast. It was quite the weekend for the channel and for home theater entertainment here. So kind of more or less be recapping and sharing some of the final setup experiences of the now into the 7th week. I think this is week 7 of the living room home theater overhaul. Actually got out to a home theater meetup as well on Saturday. That was awesome. Saw a bunch of the local crew. I'm hoping to host soon. I'll talk a little bit more about that coming up here as well. Made a couple of other minor kind of acquisitions, augmentations to the setup as a result of continuing to work on the living room and optimizing some of the plan, some of the intended setup and all of that. So yeah, since last week, we were ready to go. We were painted last Monday, Tuesday, painting wrapped up, and then we did a couple things through the week, but for the most part, it was Friday night, my son and I, and then and then additional cleanup and other activity Saturday and Sunday. Not much else going on. The ladies were out of town for the weekend at an event for my daughter, and otherwise, yeah, had some fun. A lot of home theater fun this past weekend. So I hope everybody also had a good time. Let me know who's out there. Say hello. I see Julius already, of course. Always first. Welcome. Hello, Julius. Let me know who's out there and what did you do in your home theaters in the last week? Your AV setups. Did you buy anything? Are you scoping anything out? We're only a couple weeks away now. We're well into November. Black Friday's coming. I've already seen a little bit of some pricing and sales. There's already some other sales kind of already available for the quarter. Not necessarily Black Friday, but JVC Kaleidoscape has some promos, some stuff going on. SVS will have a Black Friday sale as they usually do. And yeah, we'll see what else comes, Amazon and everything else. I've been buying a lot of stuff. I'm not specifically scoping anything else for Black Friday, but I know some folks might be waiting, watching these TV prices fall though as well. So if I think through the process that we took to kind of get through the living room, again, by the end of day Tuesday, we were fully painted and good to go. Let me share make sure I don't have anything that I can't share. No, we're good there. Let me share my photos and talk a little bit through what was going on in that activity. So boom, all right, there we go. Let's go back to not that one. I'm gonna do this one. Okay. So yeah, here was the painting. So this was November 4th, Tuesday. So Monday was my birthday. Of course, we did the stream last week. Talked about some stuff. Some other things came up last week in the stream that I wasn't explicitly thinking of, and we explored the Tableau. I ended up picking one of those up. I'll talk a bit about that. But yeah, that's how we were left Tuesday. Everything was painted nice and clean. We had the openings cut. Everything was cleaned up, and we were ready to go. So I did share some of these pictures on the community page. And as we proceeded through, of course, I think these are some of the other pictures that I shared. This was, from November 5th, actually. So we put the TV up. That's right. Before my wife and my daughter left, like I need help carrying the TV, lifting it up, setting it onto the mount and all of that stuff. So they assisted with that. And then we got the Apple TV hooked up, and then we were into, so this is 10:24 p.m., November 7th. That was it. So that's what we're looking like. The speakers are awesome. The presentation is so insane. Just the way they look in the room, it feels so slick, and the audio quality is just absolutely fantastic as well. So the setup pretty much went off without a hitch, thankfully. No big surprises, no big failure modes or anything like that. The RUI Pro cables worked great. The detachable ends were solid. I'm amazed by how quickly they actually bring the signal up. They seem to be very fast for whatever negotiation wise. If that's the true fiber optic cable, if that makes a difference, the way the electronics are within the cable tips and the ends, but I'm pretty impressed with the cables. I haven't had any issues, no sparkles, no image degradations, no problems. Nice, solid picture, pop, presentation, everything like that. Even the PC working on its full, like 48 gig bandwidth connection and such was working fine. I did fully ratify or prove that the true fiber optic cables, they don't work without some form of power. So if there's not power, at least some power provided to one of the cable tips, there is no picture. It's just black. As soon as you put power on, then the image pops up almost immediately. And RUI Pro recommends that you power the display side, or if you're going to use HDMI CEC, you power both ends. But super happy with these cables. They're so nice and slim, pliable, and again, pretty much rock solid. So I had bought a little 4-port USB hub because I didn't even look. I actually just made the assumption, I think, at the time that that the LG TV, the G2, was only going to have one USB port, and I knew I was going to need to use three of these cables because the Apple TV was coming from the rack to the TV, the Kaleidoscape's coming from the rack to the TV, and then we were using those fiber optic cables to get the PC connected as well, even though it's in the room, but from over here with the wall plate kind of through the bottom of the bump out and then up behind the TV and then into the television itself. So I needed three power connections. And as I was connecting stuff as we were making the video, we vlogged everything, we recorded everything, and I realized, oh, the LG has three USB ports. I don't even need the hub. I spent $15 on a USB hub that I didn't actually end up using because I had, again, three powered cables, three USB ports. I just plugged into each one of those directly, and then no need for the hub. I did validate though that the hub idea worked. I plugged all three cables into the hub, plugged the hub into the television, and then jumped through the different inputs and stuff on the TV, and everything was working like it was supposed to. So if anybody out there is looking to use these cables and you're concerned about power requirements, power management, single USB port, etc., I can say no problems at all. Get a hub and you should be good to go. So I kept the hub. I think actually I looked on my Amazon. My Amazon order for the hub was actually messed up. I looked in today because I was thinking, oh, I need to take my keyboard and return a keyboard. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go to the return anyway. Maybe I'll just return the hub. I don't need it. I'll get my $16 back. And I realized my Amazon order, they never confirmed a delivery, so Amazon thinks they never delivered it. So the order status is like request a reship or request a refund. It's like, oh, I'll have to get on chat or something though and let them know that it actually came. So I think they lost track of Amazon lost track of the delivery. And I suppose I don't want to be dishonest and get a refund and not actually return the thing. I wasn't even going to open it, but for the sake of science, home theater science, I wanted to verify that that it worked the way that I thought it was going to. But I might just keep it. I'll throw it in my bin of parts, and if I ever need a USB-A hub for some reason, I'll have it accessible and available. And I don't know actually if the TCL TVs only have one USB port instead of three. So that was all taken care of. The video chain was working great. Everything was looking like it was supposed to. And then we got to the PC, hooking the PC up. We put the plate on. Again, all this is in the vlog, so I should let people know. Right now, there are 2 vlogs published. They're not publicly published. They're published to members first, basically. We finished, I think I put one up on Saturday, and then vlog 10 up on Saturday, but vlog 11 up on Sunday. Again, published members first. I didn't want to publish them late on the weekend. They wouldn't really get probably watched very much, and then they would just die in the YouTube algorithm. And I think these are probably the pinnacle steps of the whole project. And so I didn't want to just throw them in to the YouTube algo and have them die and have a bunch of people miss them or miss out on seeing them. So I figured I'm better off serializing as well. I knew that we were live streaming today, so I didn't want to double up on content today. I'm going to do the This Week in Kaleidoscape or Last Week in Kaleidoscape video tomorrow. And so then I'll do then I scheduled the vlogs. I think vlog 10 will publish on Wednesday. Vlog 11 will publish on Friday. So it's going to be at least a four piece of content week coming out of the channel. It's been a while since I've had one of those. Maybe even a 5 content every day, because I do want to film a little bit of an overview of like everything I have for sale, so I can start getting some of this stuff moved. Hopefully we can find some buyers. I'm astounded by how quickly the IW6s, the Focal IW6s sold. I had people almost lined up to buy those when they came out of the theater setup, but the bigger ones, the IW LCR6s, are still here. But anyway, so the vlogs are coming again. I wanted to do, I like to do something, do what I can for the members. I appreciate all the channel members, Julius, Lawless, and others on the stream right now are channel members, plus more. Actually, the channel member community has been ticking up a little bit, so I got to start thinking of some more ways to make becoming a channel member more attractive, and maybe introduce a Patreon parallel to it or whatnot. But early videos is, I think, one of the best ways to provide some value to folks and stuff. So anyway, they're published. They're published to all levels of the channel members as well, including the cheaper of the options. But so we made those videos. That stuff is all up there, and everything that I'm talking about is kind of covered in the vlogs to come in detail. We did a lot of more interesting recording as well. My son, I bought a gimbal just recently here, so my son was actually running a lot of the video. He was helping me hands-on as well, but he figured out a whole bunch of cool stuff with the gimbal. We could set it places and have it track us, and he was doing some cool things with it as well, doing the filming. So anyway, so back to this PC, and again, this is all in the vlogs to come, but we were able to make the connection. So again, we kind of brought the one cable that we pre-pulled in the wall was down here in the well in the speaker opening. So we put the plate on the side, connected the cable into the back side of the plate, and made the rest of the connection through on the TV side. Grabbed the PC, put it up here, stood it up there, popped off the top, went to plug in the source side, put the source side tip on the cable, put it in the HDMI port, and then I went to put the fan bracket. So actually this PC case, the way it works is you kind of pull this top cap off, and then underneath there is a metal bracket with a couple of thumb screws, and it holds these two 220 millimeter fans. And so I went to put the fan bracket on, and it's like, oh no, the one thing about these cables is the tips they're pretty long. I mean, they have a bunch of electronics and stuff in them, of course, because the cable line is just optical, fiber optic cable. There's nothing to it. Everything is in the tip. So it's a little heavier. And again, they're powered, so there's probably some power management stuff in there. But by the time you take the extra long tip, and then you click the like fiber optic connecting receptacle to it, it's a pretty long piece of connection. So I have to be careful with these. If you're going to put this facing like straight out of something and push it up against the back of a wall or a cabinet, you may need to measure, because you're going to need a couple inches of clearance for these cables to work fine, which is not a big deal. It's just a logistic. But I couldn't get the fan bracket back on to close up the PC. I'm like, oh man, like everything hinged on wanting to use this cable. This PC has it has this like fishbowl style design to it. And so the motherboard is twisted. Normally the motherboard would be kind of up and down and the IO would come out on the left. This one has it rotated, so the IO is facing up, and they give you a pretty decent channel in there to plug all your cables in and route the cables out the back. But these detachable end cables were just too big. So I'm like, well, what do we do now? It's like, looks like I just couldn't get the tip in. So we actually took one of the fans off, and then the openings in the fan bracket were spaced just right, that there was like an opening above where the HDMI source cable was. So it ended up working. So we're down an exhaust fan on the PC. I don't think it'll be that big of an issue. I guess it'd be more of a positive pressure case cooling setup than a negative pressure. which I think is preferable anyway for the most part. But I think what we can do, and I just haven't done it yet. And again, there's still a couple of like final wrap up things to work on. I think we can take the fan that we removed, and I think it can go on the back of the case. So we'll just have one exhaust up, one exhaust out, and we leave the PC a couple inches off the wall. So there'll be enough space for the air to kind of flow through. But it worked fine. The cable connection, all that stuff, everything worked fine. Just was loose or lacking in the space. So that was the video chain. And then we chose Friday night, we chose not to put the Nintendo Switch in. We just left it switchless. We just set up the 3 components, Apple TV, Kaleidoscape, and the gaming PC. So that, and then we moved immediately in from there to doing the speaker setup. So let me say hello to a couple folks and answer some of these questions. Well, saying this is terrible. I got Nest games working on my Nest game. Oh yeah, there's been some more emulator releases on the Apple TV lately. I haven't I checked them out. How are an old school Zelda? You're gonna be in that well for a while. Julia's saying love the setup. Yeah, I'm so impressed with it. I'm digging it so much. Julia says, were you able to add the second fan to your PC? So that's as I was saying, it's not going to be able to fit in the top, but I think there's fan spots on the back of the case. So I just need to disconnect it. We'll do that one of these nights, probably this week or this weekend. Disconnect it, pull the back panel off, put that fan on the back as an exhaust, and then we'll be back. It'll be back in business, and the airflow dynamics will change a little bit, but I don't think it will have any adverse effect on the operation of the screen. Salman, welcome. Congratulations on the new setup. Thank you. How big is the screen? So this is the existing TV again. So I've had one major inquiry. Actually, I've kind of gone back and forth with a guy a little bit on Facebook Marketplace, interested in the television, mostly a matter of just setting the price. Initially, I started at $2,500. We were talking about this a little bit last week. Probably going to have to go under $2K probably to sell it. I've been dropping the price by, I think I've dropped it once or twice by like $100. I'm just going to keep doing that until we hit kind of some level. We'll see where that goes. But the TV, for those that didn't know, this is an LG 83-inch G2 OLED, so a couple model years old. My plan now with the adjusted spacing and all that is to get up to a 97, 98-inch screen in here. If I can sell this LG for a reasonable amount of money and a reasonable amount of time, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the 98-inch TCL QM9K. Whether I go like longer term with that or I change that out again for a 2026 model. Best case scenario, my goal, or I'd really like to have, is a 97-inch G series LG in here. It's a very expensive television, and I do have some engagement with them. I am an LG dealer. I'm a TCL dealer as well. I have access to both brands, Sony too, in the distribution channels and stuff that I use. But I can't really go for the LG. I have a better opportunity to go for the LG for myself if I wait until the G6 comes next year. So it's too much money to not wait for the best available opportunity, setup, deal, structure. So the TCL QM9K will be an awesome stopgap to use for 4 to 6 months or who knows how long, while we wait for the 2026 models and the other engagement opportunity to kind of get settled in. So I did notice that the TV prices have started to fall a bit already. I think it was the case that the what is it? Was it 6,000? I think the 98-inch TCL, its list price was 6,000. Then it was pretty quickly marked down to 5,000, and now I think it's sitting at 4,000. It's out of stock in a lot of places. I think if I order through my distribution, I can have it in about a week or so, is the last that I had checked. But yeah, I'm amazed. The price is down. So I don't know if this will be the Black Friday price for $4,000 for that set, but insane the amount of television that you can get for the money nowadays. So yeah, that's the plan. We'll see how things transpire. I need to message back to this guy and see if I can't broker a deal with him. And as I said, maybe once a week ish, every 5 days or so, I'm going to keep bringing the price down by $100 and we'll see if we get it sold for a good enough price to make the jump. I'd be at this point, I'd be happy with 2K, um, or possibly a little bit less to facilitate the change out. If anybody's watching is interested, I have that available. That's a pick it up in Southeast Michigan. And I also have some of the other equipment that was pulled out. I still have the pair of Focal IW LCR6 in-wall speakers, the 1000 series. Awesome. I love them. Obviously, I stuck with the line to go from those to the Utopia. I have my 10-inch Triad bronze in-wall subwoofers plus the rack amps that go with them. And then I have some Ubiquiti cameras that I'm not going to end up using. I've got some Wattbox dual outlet 20 amp circuit line conditioners and some other things. I've started to do a little bit of cleanup and inventory in the storage room, but I'll start that in earnest once kind of more of the rest of the project is set. The Philipster, welcome. I think that Philipster, that's a new name. Welcome. Hi, Jeremy. Curious about how your long-term experience has been with the SVS SP17s. Decided I want to switch from ported PSAs, and I searched of more linearity, fast transients, and extension, and so on. There's a part 2 to this. I'm in between that or going with the single JTR RS1 for now, getting the second later. And no, not super off topic. I would say my experience has been awesome. These have more than enough headroom to rock the theater. I have 4 of them, of course, in here. Certain system direction may actually see me adding a 5th, if certain things transpire the way that they might. But I don't even remember how long I've had these now. It was earlier this year. Maybe it's been 6 months on the order of something like that, or maybe more than that. But yeah, they're great. I haven't had any problem, no problems, no failure modes, nothing like that. Firmware is updated and fine when the new releases come out. They're still waiting, I think, for the calibration feature, software feature to come. But I mean, these things can put out enough bass in this room where like I'm scared about what they're doing to the structure of the home. So they sound great. They sound quick. They sound accurate. To me, very happy with them. If you're interested in going that route, feel free to reach out and definitely let me know. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those choices, though. You mentioned getting the RS1 now and getting a second later versus potentially having multiple subs now. Depends how long you may be waiting for that. If you're like a year off, maybe response-wise, more could be better. More quantity could be better than less over a longer period of time. But in the long run, I don't think you'll be unhappy with either one of those. Again, I know I don't know if it's actually started yet. I need to double check. I don't think the Black Friday pricing has started yet, though. But anyway, feel free to get in touch if you want. Chintaput, HDMI 2.1 48 cable is working. Yep, at 4K 120. Yes, the PC was working fine. We actually need to, well, the desktop, yeah, I mean, we didn't do any gaming actually yet on the PC. But it updated, the desktop itself is running 4K HDMI 2.1, desktop's running at 120 FPS, RGB full. So no problems, no issues, no sparkles, nothing like that. So I know you had brought up some concern about those cables working with the TV, and so I say, as of yet, knock on wood and cross my fingers, I haven't had no troubles. All right, let me. All right, so let's talk about the audio setup. So the audio setup was pretty fun. We started on the right-hand side. We put the subwoofer module in first. We dealt with the cabling first. We make sure we cut the cables to similar lengths and stuff. So we managed all the cable slack, and that we actually pulled more of the cable slack down to the rack for the HDMI cables and the and the speakers and stuff as well. So my son and I, we got that taken care of. Put the subwoofer module in, connected up the subwoofer module directly to the speaker module. And then, so I am running them as full range speakers. Not the sub is not separate. It's all just one big monster full range speaker right now. One connection of speaker cable into the main speaker wire terminals on the Utopia itself. And that was pretty much it. You may notice that there are a couple, 4 of these sections right here. I can zoom in actually, kind of show this off. So these sections here on the Utopia, they're like settings, basically calibrations. So you have like the highs, the mid, and the low tuning. And depending on where you set this little jumper cable, it's like 0 boost, and I think it's -2. It's like +2, 0, or -2 dB for the tweeter, the mid range, and the lower extension. And then the bottom one, this controls the crossover to the subwoofer module. And you can set it, I think it was 80, might have been 80, 100, and 120. I think there's 3 or 4 settings. By default, out of the box, it's actually set to 100, which I found kind of interesting. So we set that all up, put that one in, tightened all the little Allen wrench screws. There's so many of these screw terminals, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like I don't even know, 20 of them per speaker. It takes forever to get the latches to turn, and they pull in. They pull in from the back. So we got that one all cinched in and working fine. And then we did a little more recording. I wanted to do one. I didn't want to, it would have been kind of redundant to fully record both for the vlog. So we did the right one to kind of get the whole process understood. And then we did the left one and recorded it. So I go through the whole kind of sequence, how the stuff goes together, taking the bracket pieces off that need to come off, putting the spacers on, and then we got this in there, the speak-on connector cable, wiring up the speaker wire itself, and then putting the thing in there. And we were good to go. There's only one thing that leaves me confused about these speakers. And if you look right here at the junction point, this is very raw. It's very raw and open right here. And that's because there's a top bracket. So right here, in this piece right here belong to the subwoofer. And then up here, this piece belongs to the speaker. There's a top faceplate bracket on the subwoofer, and there's a bottom faceplate bracket on the speaker. And the instructions tell you to take them both off so that they can fit together. And then they tell you in the pictograph, the Focal like manual instructions. They're kind of like IKEA furniture instructions. They're all pictographs. They show a bracket and they show the 4 screws like going back in. So it's basically saying like, okay, attach a bracket in between here. So you would think that they would have included a bracket in the box, and maybe I just need to go looking again and I didn't find it. But I would have expected a plain black bracket with 8 screw holes so that you screw in all 8 between the 2 speakers and you really kind of lock everything in together. But I didn't find something like that. Again, I need to go look and double check on this. I think it was telling me to basically just put the bottom of the plate from the speaker back on. But the problem with that is the one that came off the speaker has a piece of foam that's like, I should have brought these down here and I could have held them, but it's like, it comes like this, a U shape, because there's the part that screws in, and then there's a foam backing that would assume that if you're just putting the speaker by itself into the wall, the foam would hit the wall, and it would brace and make the connection and all of that. The bracket that came off the subwoofer is the opposite. Its foam goes up, over, and down. So the concern is that whatever of the 2 brackets that I try to use, it doesn't like screw in flush because that foam is in the way. And you don't want to take the foam off. You don't want to take the foam off because, well, what if like you, I guess, ever take the speaker out and sell the speaker or whatnot? So it's like there should have been a 3rd bracket for this. So I need to go looking through the boxes. I know there's a bunch of extra brackets in the boxes for the grills, because the grills have separate like cap pieces for the top and bottom, and there's a special capping piece for the center junction, because for the grills you use the subwoofer grill and then you put the speaker grill, they kind of meet, and then you use the bracket to cover up the seam. But it should have just had a bracket in the box to do this for the speakers, because quite honestly, I almost don't want to use the grills. I like it. I really like the look of it as it is. Um, the dark, the drivers, like they look, it looks amazing. It really looks amazing in the room. It's super striking, very distinctive. It feels like elegant luxury and powerful audio video. Um, so and even my daughter, they came back, they got home Sunday, like dinner time-ish from the weekend activity they were at, and she's like, "Wow, I like it the way it looks. I wouldn't put the girls on." I'm like, okay. So my wife didn't say anything. Um, but as it is for now, I'm not going to put the girls on until I kind of figure everything out. So for now, I'm just kind of running it as it is. So that was the speaker part of the setup, pretty seamless. I'm going to message my contacts at Focal actually and ask about this as well, just to validate what exactly are you expecting people to do on the junction of the seam, particularly for somebody that doesn't want to use the grills. It doesn't look bad. Like if you look at it in the picture and I don't zoom in, you wouldn't even really notice that like kind of this junction piece is missing. But if I go close in, you can tell, right, here's the cut of the drywall, and it shouldn't stay looking that way. Maybe they're just assuming that when you screw one of the two brackets in, it'll compress, the screws will pull it in, it'll compress the foam and it'll cover up the spot. But it's still going to be like cockeyed because the fact that the foam is on there, it's not going to compress like all the way. So I don't know. I don't know what the particular is with that, but I will find out and I will continue kind of working on that as we go. So I think here, yeah, I can just kind of play this as I'm talking. So we are doing the video thing. Anybody notice the big white circle on the screen to the right? I got to clean that up. We had a fan blowing out that screen during the drywall work, so a bunch of drywall dust got caught around the blades where the fan was blowing out. I need to like take some water, big pitcher of water, and like or to take the screen out and clean it, or throw some water through there and wash that dust off and get rid of that ring, that drywall ring. But man, just so impressive. The whole speaker array is a little taller than I am. It just flanks the TV so well. All right, so then we went to the equipment setup. My son was gracious enough to screw in all the brackets for the left-hand speaker while I went downstairs and worked on the setup. So I did use the M23s. I did bridge them, and I'm glad I read all the instructions. I looked on NAD's webpage. They had a PDF instructing with specific instructions about the um, how to bridge the M23 and the M33. As I think more normally I think they assume that somebody may be using the M33, which is the same amps as the 23, but then you want it more power, you bridge the 33 internally, and then you get a 23 external, you bridge that, and now you have 2 amps. But in my case, I just have 2 M23s. But so I started hooking stuff up, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll grab some XLR cables and hook up XLR. And then on the back, it kind of tells you like, okay, for when in bridge mode, connect to the left channel terminals. No, it's okay, no problem. So I did that. And then there's a little switch. You got to get like a paper clip or something. I used the edge of my utility knife because it's inset. You don't want to ever hit this by accident and then not realize that you'll blow stuff up, I guess. So I hit the bridge switch. And I'm like, I better look for more complete instructions. I'm glad I did. So according to NAD's bridging instructions for the M23, you can't use the balance connections. So they recommend that you use the RCA connections only when bridging. And so I'm like, oh, okay, wow. So we got to flip the switches. And so luckily I had some RCA cables. Actually, the RCA cables that I had in my cable bin were better suited to the task than the XLR links that I had anyway. I thought I had some shorter XLR cables, but I didn't. I had 5-foot links and I only needed a foot and a half. But I did have a 1.5 foot RCA cable. So use the RCA cables. It tells you as well to fix the gain to high. So one of the unknowns of like using the one of the unknowns of using those amps is like, what's the best gain setting? High, low, medium, whatever. And so if you're bridging, they tell you set the gain to high. Okay, so I don't have to worry about messing around with the amp gain. And then, of course, you have to when you're bridging an amplifier and you have that amplifier's 2 channels have 2 sets of terminals in the bridge, you use like the negative terminal of one set of terminals and the positive terminal of the other set of terminals. So on the M23, it's specifically the red positive terminal of the left amplifier, left channel amplifier, and then the blue black negative terminal of the right channel amplifier. So I had to split my cables a lot and like make the make the split of the cables because those terminals are not next to each other. It would have been nice actually if they might have reversed the layout of the back panel and put the speaker terminals together towards the center, so that if you're bridging and you had to mix them, but they're like as far apart on the I/O of the 2 amp, the rear of the 2 amps as they could be. So no big deal. I just had to cut it and spread them out. I just did bare wire connections everywhere as well. No banana plugs or spade terminals or anything. Bare wire on the back of the speakers with the spring clip retentions, and then bare wire with the screw in the cap terminal on the back of the M23. So that's that's working fine. I didn't have the trigger cables Friday night that I needed as well. I thought I did and I didn't. So I had to order a couple trigger cables, just some mono audio cables off of Amazon. Those came Sunday, so now everything's working like it's supposed to. Control 4 turns on the STR with a little Y adapter, because the STR only has one trigger output. In the NADs, they don't have cascading trigger outputs. So public service announcement to every like audio component maker out there, for everything that's good in the world of audio and video, please, especially if you're making like a 2-channel preamplifier, put at least 2 trigger outputs on there so that we don't have to get extra cables. We don't have to use Y cables and stuff like that. And put a feature in the settings to like delay the start between the 2 trigger terminals, like spread it out a little bit. And if you're going to have an amplifier or any other type of audio device with a trigger, if you have a trigger input, you should always have a trigger output, because you never know what may need to be daisy chained or cascaded in the trigger setup downstream from the one device. So the STR has one trigger output and the NADM23 has no trigger outputs at all. So anyway, I had a little a mono Y adapter, plugged that in the back of the STR. The 2 cables came out. They came on Sunday, quick Amazon delivery. So I got that working fine. I think actually we might be able to read it here. Yeah. So here's how this jumper looks again. So by default, it's set at 0 dB. Yeah. So you have plus 2, 0, or -2. And again, this is the mid-range level. There's a higher one for the like tweeter level. And I think they call this the bass or mid bass level. And then the bottom one is the crossover. So the one thing I want to do is I get more further, I'll talk about calibration in a minute. As I get a little further in the calibration, I do want to like measure with each of those sections of the speaker at their different frequency setting and see what the difference is, how it works, what it looks like, and all that. Okay, so that took care of all of that. After that point, we were basically ready to turn everything on, and thankfully everything worked like it was supposed to. No audio snafus, no problems, no issues. All the drivers were moving in the first audio test, and everything was the way it was supposed to be. We did do Friday night. Did we do? I'm going to mix up my days now. Initially, we did do a really quick Arc Genesis calibration. Arc is so fast when you only have 2 speakers. You don't have to do the extra subwoofer steps. You basically measure speaker 1. You do a delay between only 2 speakers, and you measure speaker 2, 5 points across the couch, and it only takes about 10-15 minutes to do an Arc cal. So that's cool. That was easy to do. I do have some questions. I want to send to Anthem about what Arc is doing with low bass when there are no subwoofers, because it still has basically like a send to subwoofer cutoff indicated in the Arc settings. And so I'm like, well, is it actually cutting off bass? Like, why would it have any kind of a why would it employ any kind of a cutoff It doesn't seem like it is. Actually, I can show this as well. This is from my ladder measurement. So this is the left channel. The left channel doesn't get as deep as the right channel, and I think it's getting less boundary reinforcement because my room to the left opens up to the big dining kitchen area, whereas on the right hand side is a wall. So this one's falling off, falling off pretty good in the like 35 hertz range or so. We're getting starting to fall off from 75 dB, but or actually, sorry, earlier than that, just under 50 hertz. It's or actually right here, about 40 hertz or so. It's really starting to fall. This one kind of falls off, but it's moving. The base drivers are moving. I validated it. Everything's doing what it's supposed to do. And then on the other one, this one goes a lot lower. So the measurement curve, you can see here, it's still like 75 dB down to like 20, and then kind of falling off a bit from there. So I guess we get a little more base power out of the right channel than the left power, probably again because of the room. I think it's interesting that both of these have this like 2K dip. At my special audio event that I was at a couple weeks ago, learning how to do certain things, it was mentioned that the place that hosted the event, they make speakers, and they were purposefully like PEQing a 2K dip into their speakers, and they were talking there about how like everybody prefers it that way. And so it's interesting. I want to ask Focal about this. Like, is that actually in the speaker or is that in my room? I don't remember if I had a 2K dip in measuring the prior stuff, but I can say the sound is very good. The sound, I'm very, very happy with the sound out of these speakers. We played a bunch of music. We kind of broke them in. We did our first calibration, and then I realized looking at them after the fact, I'm like, oh shoot, the bass crossover is 100. I don't want to use the bass crossover at 100. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't set that crossover jumper to go to the lowest point. So I moved the crossover jumper to 80, and then whether it was Saturday afternoon or it might have been Saturday evening, I think we had moved it down to 80, and then it's like, okay, we should rerun Arc Genesis because we changed the calibration or the crossover setting of the speaker. So we did that quick. And then again, we let it play music just kind of throughout a bunch of the day while we were home on Saturday, Sunday a little bit as well. We watched a couple episodes of a cartoon that my son and I are watching, Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon. Cranked it up, the volume up a little bit. So there's some superhero fights, there's some explosions. It's streaming, it's lossy audio, and whatever. But wow, I'm sorry. And the music is clean. It's clear. Dynamics are there. I'm just super impressed with the speakers. Very happy with this setup. Let's a couple questions. I'll talk about a couple of the other things, the offshoot items that we worked on as well. This is Infusion 5112. Welcome. Hey, Jeremy, what's your thought on the Phantom versus adding a true center? Is it heavily dependent on the receiver capability? I don't think it's really dependent on the receiver. I think if you're going to use a Phantom center, I think you do, let's say less on the receiver. And I think you do want to get a good like room correction system, something that is going to manage like delay and alignment between the speakers, basically. I do, my gut tells me that helps a lot. And so I've had a Phantom center set up in this living room for quite a long time now. I had just all the triads originally, and then went to the IWLCR6s, and now these. If I can sit anywhere on my couch and I can play content, and the voices sound like they're dead center when they're integrated, right? If it's a left or a right dedicated, then obviously you get the channel separation. But anything where the sound is supposed to be coming out of the middle, it sounds dead like it's coming out of the middle. And I don't have to trick myself to make myself believe that that's the case. Like I did in the theater here when I had before I did the acoustically transparent screen, I had my center channel on a stand 13 inches or so off the floor. And I had to do mental gymnastics to look at the screen and make it feel like the audio was connected to the screen, and not make it feel like the audio was coming from whatever 6 feet below the center of the screen. I think in this case, the Phantom Center, having the TV and the speakers on this is a lot of conjecture, but I think this is why it works so well in this room. One, the TV and the speakers on the same plane, and the fact that the speakers are so close to the display, I think really locks everything together. If those speakers were out, towers in the room and towed in and more disconnected in space from the screen, maybe it wouldn't work as well. I think that helps a ton. And then I think Arc Genesis is a big part also of why it works really well. And again, integrating the speakers, calculating, measuring, and applying proper delay and integration between the speakers, stuff like that. So to be honest, I don't want a center channel in the room. I think a center channel in the room breaks apart the entirety of what I'm trying to accomplish with this setup. First of all, like, where would I put it? It would have to go either down here in the wall. I don't want it in the room. It would have to go down here in the wall. And then now all my audio is coming from down here. And we keep the stool here. There's a table. Like up here, the sound, right? The tweeters are right about the top third. They're aligned with about the top third of the screen. And when we get the 98-inch TV, they'll be even a little bit more towards the center. This plane is so much better. It's so much better having this plane in line with the display versus down here. Or I'd have to put it up here, and that would be no good either. I had speakers up here before, and as you can see, now it's taken me kind of a waste of time and effort and money building this thing up and then rebuilding it now to flatten this out and get these speakers out of here to end up with what I have today. So I think some of it depends on how the implementation of your center channel goes, spacing, managing the plane, what room correction system you're using, stuff like that. So I guess it does become dependent on the receiver capability, because you would want to make sure that you have a receiver capable of like doing more of the, I think, better level of measurement and management and delay calculation, stuff like that. But and then also too, not only from the physical logistics of where would the center go and all that, but as soon as you go larger than 2 speakers, like adding subwoofers is fine because the preamps can manage it. But I don't want to go past two amplified, fundamentally 2 amplified speakers or 2 amplified channels in this room. I'd have to go up to a multi-channel receiver. So like I'd want to be looking at like an AVM 90 or something, maybe at least an AVM 70, just to add one speaker, right? Just to add one center and not use all those other channels that the multi-channel receiver provides. So by keeping it 2-channel, I have a lot more options available to me, and I can focus in on a different kind of piece of equipment, right? 2-channel gear, a 2-channel preamp, a 2-channel integrated amplifier, maybe in the future, right? Whatever I feel would be best. But I like sticking to that class of equipment in here. And again, I need limited amplifiers, and I can do what I'm doing with basically functional monoblocks. It just keeps the complexity, and it manages everything in a really great way. So Julia is saying, I've heard people are adding a sub to the middle channel speaker. What are your thoughts? I mean, just in general, more subs are better. I don't know specifically about adding it necessarily to the speaker, or I think a lot of folks around home theater people really like subwoofers, right? They like bass. Either they want a lot of subs because they really want to push the bass energy, or you want more subs because you really want to make sure that they integrate well and the presentation and the delivery of bass is smooth and consistent across as many seats and stuff as possible. I wouldn't probably, generally speaking, I'm not drawn to really necessarily add more subwoofers to this room for much more of a reason. However, again, there's a certain pathway forward for me that if you add up my channel counts right now, I have 15 channels, and let's say certain setups would easily allow for a 16th thing to exist in the room, and would most powerfully be able to employ the use of a subwoofer as the 16th thing. So, and I have the spot for it right dead center it would just make sense to do for me in this potential future step for the theater to do 3 subwoofers up front and just probably keep the 2 in the back. And that also lends itself to a certain type of bass processing. That certain equipment. I don't want to. I don't want. I'm gonna have to have a whole hour talking about this plan, separate. So we'll table it for the future. But say certain direction would have me doing that, only because very specifically of the logistics of that direction. Otherwise, I wouldn't necessarily be pursuing it. Maddie, welcome. He's saying the FYI, the 5000 series SVS are on sale now, but not the 17s. Yeah, I could probably look. It'd take me a few. That way, room turnout looks amazing. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Jintibit saying, I have buy that cable. The cable isn't working for his G2 because the USB power won't work on PS5. So if you're power the cable on the display side, not on the source side, and Jintibit, you may find that it works better for you. Again, I think that's what RUI Pro recommends. If you power one end just to make the cable serviceable, they recommend powering the display side, not the source side. So maybe try that out. That's what else we got here. Talking about those subwoofers. Yeah, 2 SB17 costs $5,100. 2 RS1 is $7,400. And you get all the SVS apps, warranty, etc. So good savings there. And again, it really depends on the application in the room. Like, is the RS1 more than you're going to actually take advantage of? I think you want to ask about questions about like fit and finish, elements. Are you looking at them? Do you like the style of one or the other? So there's some other things as well beyond the performance. Either one is going to deliver, I think, awesome performance. But again, size of your room and number of your subs, all that stuff. I can say I run these things at, I think they're like -7, -8 is what the subs are calculated to, and or volume set to. And I have headroom. Certain tones can hit that rocket. When the space shuttle was taken off in Bad Guys 2, I was getting ready to like turn the volume down. I was getting afraid in here. So I mean they can dominate this space plenty. So kind of talk about this a little bit, Mandy. How did the center channel effect work without a center? Yeah. So I love Phantom Center in this type of living room setup. And I've kind of done now what I've espoused before in prior content. I'm essentially moving this room to that way. And because I think I had commented before, like if we moved and I downsized and we had a house, I couldn't have a dedicated multi-channel home theater, and it was going to be a living room combined audio video space system use type of application. I'm telling you, I'm going 2022, 97-inch OLED. Maximize the speaker models that I would get for the money. Get absolutely top end speakers. Maintain the same sources: Apple TV, Kaleidoscape, PC, etc. And that's it. I'd be happy with it. I'd watch movies on that. I would watch TV shows on it. I would game on that system. And if space didn't allow me to have a whole separate dedicated room, that's what I would do. And I would be happy with it. Big sound coming out of big speakers, big 2-channel speakers, envelops and fills the room in a way that I really enjoy and dig, and minimizes the footprint. And I'm not trying to force multi-channel speakers to be in places where they can't be because there's no space, or putting things up in a ceiling that aren't supposed to go in a ceiling. I put all my money into a limited number of components in a very specific setup. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I've reached a pinnacle of sources. I've reached a pinnacle of speakers fundamentally, because I like architectural, and I don't even know I don't think there's anything above this level of architectural speaker. The electronics are top notch now. All that's left is the screen, getting the screen up to 100 inches, and I'm golden. So I'm basically doing that, even though I still do have the theater room. So when I really want to watch a movie, 163 inches, massive bass, surround sound audio, and that experience, I can come down here. But otherwise, the living room is where I'll spend the majority of my time. The other question here, luck on the 98 QM9K. So I commented on this a little earlier. Maybe you come in late, but just to answer your question really quick, I've had one decent lead on selling the G2. I initially priced it at 2,500. I've been dropping the price by $100. I think I've dropped it twice now, maybe only once actually. I think I need to drop it again today. I suspect that I'm going to have to probably get under $2,000 to sell it, but I'll still be happy to do that because the price, if you've noticed, I know you usually watch it, Mandy, the price of the retail price of the QM9K 98 is now $4,000. It dropped another $1,000 like last week. So the dealer cost has come down, etc. So I was hoping to maybe get 2,500 for the G5 and then make my way into the TCL, and then we'll see what happens next year. Now, because the price has come down so much, I can sell the G2 for less, and I don't have to pony up as much money. So that's still my plan. I haven't bought anything yet. I haven't changed anything yet. I still really want to I want to have a buyer for this before I commit, because I don't want to have this display just sitting around. And we talked a little bit last week about alternative options, stuff like that. So I'm still hoping to get it. I'm still hoping to do that. We'll see how it goes. Is there a pic with the grills on? Nope, the grills are still in the boxes. So that's something I've been working on. Philpster, sounds good. I'll shoot you an email. Yeah, of course. Please do. Out of curiosity, do you happen to know where your usable output drops off with the 4 subs? No, because Arc Genesis only measures to 15. I really need to get a general mic and use like REW and measure both of my rooms in their clean entirety, and then I would be able to answer that question. So I haven't taken measurements to be able to say that for sure. Box Kirk, welcome. I tried to do a Phantom Center in my living room. The way it's set up, it doesn't work. Oh, bummer. I'm using a Phantom Center in my gaming music room. Works there pretty good. Yeah, so again, I think there's certain logistics that lend themselves well to Phantom Center, and then other logistics just struggle a little bit more. So I don't advise it universally. I think you got to be careful of the certain elements of the logistics and the details and the setup and all of that. But I can say in my room, it's wonderful, and I'm very happy that it works so well. Because again, I think when it works well, it's a preferable setup. Again, depending what you're looking for, and a lot of those reasons and whatnot. Srian, welcome, buddy. And I think the Focal DV Utopias would be perfect for your room. Yeah, 100%. So again, I think that's what I said before. If I didn't have an architectural setup as well, and I were to move and downsize, that I would get those 100%. Especially now that they have the bigger ones, man, I would get those 100%. Diva Utopias, 97-inch OLED, Apple TV Kaleidoscape PC, Switch now. I did buy the Switch too. And you're golden. Maddie's saying, oh man, just had a thought. This room is prime for an AWOL micro LED TV. Not sure if their existing sizes will fit though. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm limited. So I'm limited inside that cubby now to about 100 inches, which, 97, 98 inches. Either the 97-inch G2 or the 98-inch TCL is going to leave about, I think with the G2, I have about an inch and a half gap around on all 4 sides. Each side will have about an inch and a half gap. It'll be perfect. A little bit of an opening. So I wouldn't even need to necessarily go for like a TV wall per se, when an off-the-shelf television model fits and fills the cubby and works so good. Did you watch House of Dynamite on Netflix? Any new shows this week? No, I haven't. We played on the Nintendo Switch 2 a little bit yesterday. And again, my son and I rewatched some of the Avengers cartoon Saturday night. I think, has Stranger Things hit yet? I need to talk to my wife and find out if we watched all of Stranger Things together to date, and I need to find out if she's interested in watching the rest of it or not. Because if not, I want to start watching that. Otherwise, I'm not sure what I might watch. I might watch Alien Romulus, actually. It's kind of my next little solo show to work my way through. Not sure if there's anything else. Or Invincible. I'll go back and finish up, pick up Invincible season 2, probably start over Invincible season 2 on Amazon Prime. Otherwise, I'm not sure when. I wonder when the next Boys season. So there's probably some other stuff coming as well. All right, so wow, we're already at the hour. So I'll mention a couple other things that we did. So we got through all of that. We did the calibration. I will do another. The next vlog video um, will be the like the calibration effort. And again, I want to be able to talk about the jumper settings and crossovers and stuff like that. As of now, I tuned it up. I turned it up pretty loud, and I didn't seem to encounter any trouble. No, I mean the amps definitely didn't go into any protect or shutdown mode. I didn't pick up on any hitches or issues. Everything was working solid. So I think the bridged full range speaker configuration is going to be a winner. So I'm going to stick with that for sure, for the time being anyway. See if I change anything just to change it. It probably won't because it's going to be a pain. Like I'd have to take the speakers out now to affect any different wiring change or configuration. Um, and I'm really happy with the way it's working right now. And even when Chris was on here, Chris Shaw from Focal, he's basically like the speakers have really great electronics. They're designed with their own crossovers and their own distribution network inside. Just let them do what they're designed to do. So they don't need to compromise that. And then so the other stuff, I did buy a Tableau. It's still in the box. I didn't get to setting that up yet. And so after the live stream last week, we spent a little while. We'll go just a little bit long today to talk about these couple topics, and then we'll deep dive on them a little bit more probably next week. I went looking at my antenna setup, like in the panel behind my rack, because I wanted to know, did I really compromise the antenna so much that I can't use it? And it's just a dead piece of metal in my attic, or can I actually use it? And as I found, because it was so long ago, over a year ago, whatever, that I affected whatever changes I was going to do. Or, oh, it was 2 years ago actually. Looking at it, the line is still coming down from the attic. It still is the amplifier. I kept the amplifier in there and the power. So I can use it. As far as looking at it, I can still use my attic antenna. So like that's awesome. So I don't have to worry about the leaf on the wall antenna, whether it's in the basement or upstairs, and putting it behind the TV or anything like that. I can use the attic antenna. I can put the Tableau down in the basement with the rack and the equipment, plug the antenna into the Tableau, power the antenna, and then put the Tableau on the network, and then boom, load the app, and I'm good to go. So I'm gonna get that set up within the week here. Actually, I'll do my best to film that, make a video out of it at least as well, and then use it for a little bit. I'm still connected with YouTube TV right now, but I kind of want to have them both in parallel for a week or so, at least, maybe another month. I think I'll end up paying for YouTube TV at the end of this week. So if I get the Tableau set up, maybe I'll get it set up tonight or tomorrow night potentially. Use it for a couple days, compare and contrast it, and then I may be canceling the YouTube TV and just stick with the Tableau. So that I got that. It was $100. I just bought the two tuner model without an antenna because I have my own. And again, we get that all validated to make sure that that's working great. And the experience before the antenna was awesome. Up in the attic, we're not that far from Detroit and Ontario and Canada. Like we can pull a lot of channels off that antenna. Only thing I don't know about is like I want to say ASCII. It's not ASCII. The 2.0 versus like 3.0 broadcast standards and stuff, but I don't think the Tableau does that anyway. So anyway, the Tableau content will be coming. And then I was debating with my son Friday night. It's like, okay, we hooked up the Apple TV Clydescape and the PC, got the PC minimally running. We still got to do a little more testing on the PC, actually play some games and stuff on it. But it's like, all right, we got three choices, is what I was saying last week, right? It's in the vlog actually from Friday night. It's like we either hook up the existing switch. Yeah, there you go. It's ATSC. Yeah. That thing. It doesn't matter to me because I don't think it works. Thank you. All right, we got three choices here. We put the Nintendo Switch 1 back in and we just live with it. Or we don't put the Switch back in and we just sell it and we're done with Nintendo products for the time being. Or if we're going to get it, we're going to get it now. We're going to get it tomorrow, Saturday morning, so that because I'm not putting the Switch 1 in and then taking it out and putting the 2 in. Everything's fresh and clean. Everything's newly painted. If we're mounting anything on the wall, etc., like we're going to the 2. So Saturday morning after my kiddos coding group activity class thing, we swung by Best Buy and we picked up the Switch 2. So I have a Switch 1 for sale and a whole bunch of stuff. If anybody is looking for a Switch 1, I'll probably, I got like the Switch, I got a memory card for it, I got the hide-it mount for it. I was like a whole bunch of like bits and pieces and stuff to round out the whole thing. But I'll get that. I'll throw that up on Facebook Marketplace. I presume that will sell pretty quick. But we hooked it up. We hooked up the Switch on Sunday. Didn't end up hooking up on Saturday. We hooked it up on Sunday. Very happy that I upgraded that. Long story short, very happy that I upgraded that. We'll probably talk more Switch 2. That's probably a good topic for next week. So we could probably spend a whole hour just talking about it. But it's very nice to have a Nintendo console in 4K with HDR and looking like you would expect something to look like in late 2025. So there was no way that the Switch 1 was going back in the system. So really putting the Switch 1 back in was really not an option at this point, especially going to the bigger TV and all of that. It was going to be option 2 or 3. Either it was gone and we were done with Nintendo, or we were putting the 2 in now. So we went and got it. I bought a 512 gigabyte card as well. It's like $110 for the card. So the Switch actually has 256 gig internal storage. I like that. So plus the card, you got 3/4 of a terabyte, lots of game storage. And I bought the pack. I'm talking more about what I want to talk about next week, but I bought the pack with Mario Kart World. Looks really nice. Plays really nice. We did like maybe 4 races last night, I think, the 4 of us. It looks great. It looks great, especially for Nintendo. It looks great. Like I don't even know how you could make at this point. Probably Nintendo games like Mario Kart doesn't look any better than this. So they did a good job on it. And watching the cars run, the headlights, the lighting, HDR, very happy with the upgrade. So I hope they. I need to do some more research. Like, is the Switch 2 natively making Switch 1 games better at all? I think it's doing like auto HDR on games that don't have it. I don't know if it's upscaling anything or just rounding out frame rates, bumping up frame rates. Some games it seems have some Switch 2 patches and stuff available, like the Zelda games. The last couple of Zelda games have a paid upgrade. We actually picked up Hyrule Warriors, but we'll talk about this next time. All right, I need to get upstairs, get some dinner, catch up with the family and all that stuff. So let me just get through the last comments and we'll call this a podcast. Maddie, I thought maybe your secret trip was to visit AWOL. Nope, I visited somebody. It was not AWOL. I'll give a hint since it's way late in the stream. It was an audio product, not a video product. Srin saying Samsung does make 115-inch micro LED. Yeah, wouldn't fit in the cubby. 100 inches is the cap. I forget the dimensions now. 88. I think the cubby is like 88 inches wide. So, and whatever I ever put in here now will fit inside that cubby for sure. Manny, how does the Switch sound in this setup? I don't have any. No, I don't have any content I can show. At least not yet. I'll set up for this a little bit better next week. Maybe next week I can stream in the living room. I wanted to stream in the living room. My daughter was supposed to have soccer practice. She actually fell off her horse last week, and so she's okay, thankfully. But she was taking it easy. She skipped her soccer practice, so the whole family's home. I couldn't stream up in the living room. I would have liked to have been sitting up there to do this talk. But hopefully she's back to games and doing her stuff by this weekend. And so if she's at her regularly scheduled soccer practice, nobody else is home in the 5 o'clock hour, I can sit upstairs and we can do some live Switch stuff. Because there's some really cool stuff. Actually, there's some nice improvements and things that I was discovering about the Switch 2 that I really liked, and some gotchas as well. We did film another kind of like different video. I'm trying to do some different stuff. So what I did is my son and I, this video won't release actually until after the next live stream also. I haven't even edited it yet, but he and I, we sat at our kitchen island. We just turned the camera on and it's like, all right, we're going to do this together. We're going to unbox it. We're just going to look at it. We're going to say what we think. We had our Switch 1 right there. We went through the whole process of like getting everything out of the box, handling the two side by side, saying what I thought, he was saying what he thought. And we got it all set up. We did the whole setup process kind of live, right? And then we got it docked, we got it connected, and so we ended that video essentially at the menu screen after setting up some of the settings and exploring the docked TV settings. So I think hopefully that will be some unique Switch content that is a little bit above and beyond from a home theater perspective. What's there? Of course, it's super late. I should have just bought the darn thing when it came out, so that I could have made content when it was topical and timely. But my initial impression after the first day of playing around with it, it's nice. I do like it. The screen is way bigger. If you were to use it in a mobile mode, we pretty much just always use it in a docked mode. But Mario Kart looked fantastic. I'm eager to try some other games as well. Yeah, on the Tableau thing, please do a video, on all that setup, performance, how it works, etc. Yeah, I'll try my best to cover that as well once I dig into it. If the Tableau works out, I'm going to try and convince mom to cancel her Dish Network. Almost $200 a month. Wow. Yeah. I think I will be satisfied with the Tableau. And again, I think my antenna is going to work the way that I expect it will. We'll see how it goes. How large is the SSD on the Tableau? I forget the size, but the internal storage is 50 hours, is what I believe they quoted at. 50 hours of internal DVR. So that's plenty for me. I don't know if the 4-tuner one has more storage inside. I think they both might be 50 hours internal, whether you get the 2 or the 4. It has a USB port, so if you really need more storage, you can get a you can put a USB drive on it. I won't be doing that though. I bought more storage for the Switch because I like to have all of the games downloaded, whatever we may purchase and play on it, without having to swap and shuffle or whatever. But 50 hours of DVR. The only thing I'm going to really DVR is like news. In the past, I might have DVR'd Saturday Night Live, but that's not even a show I watch with any regularity anymore. I'll DVR like when we get into like election time, and if they're airing the debates and stuff like that, I'll record those to watch them. Thanksgiving Day parade, stuff like that. So I don't need a lot. Right. Yeah, Mario looks pretty good. Also, the new Donkey Kong looked pretty cool too. Did you set up the Switch? Yep, with HDIG. Yeah, so because it's HDR, it has this is in the video actually that we recorded. It has the, like here's the picture, and adjust the brightness of your TV so that you can see this thing, barely see this thing, but you can't see this one. Did that, put the LG in HDIG mode. I'll have to check out Vincent's video actually to see maybe if in case I missed anything, but I don't think I missed anything in the settings. But yeah, it's actually contemporary electronics nowadays. It's perfect. Yeah, hope she's okay. Get better soon. Yeah, she fell off the side, kind of fell in front of the horse, rolled and came back up. My wife was recording her riding lesson at the time, so she had the whole thing on video. Scary. Like she would have been 5 degrees or 10 degrees more straight down. Who knows what the heck the situation might have been. The horseback riding, man, I don't know. It's not my jam, but it's got some risk factors to it. Yeah, Switch content sounds cool. Kids always know more better with video games. I'll tell you what, I bought this gimbal, and this gimbal has like 9 buttons on it, and it has like overloaded modes and options to like turn the phone and twist the phone and realign the phone and track the phone and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm trying to read this thing. It's like my brain is just not comprehending or remembering like, okay, every button has 3 freaking functions on it. There's a press, a double press, and a triple press. And I can't even keep it straight. My son pulls this thing out, and 20 minutes later, he's like, "Dad, look what this thing can do." I'm like, "Okay, all right. You're the cameraman from now on. I'm still the on-camera personality. I think you're gonna be the cameraman until we start someday when he's probably the lead tech enthusiast here on the channel. we'll segue into that in the decades ahead. But yeah, so last couple questions. How's the bass impact? It's like enough. It's great in music. It's great in music. I'm still trying to figure some stuff out. So I think some people would still be looking to add a big subwoofer to the setup of these speakers. I don't think that I'm going to desire to do that, but I got to play around with it some more. And I got to figure out some more of the calibration element. And I want to send some questions to Anthem because I want to make sure that the lowest end bass range is not being cut off at all. So TBD. But what I did play, like, man, music is impeccable. It's so good. So good. All right. Monster TV Media, welcome. Looks great. Looks good, brother. Thanks. Yeah, man, the room is awesome. So we got next steps to do. Again, tomorrow I'll do the quick Kaleidoscape video tomorrow. Vlogs 10 and 11 will come Wednesday and Friday. That's what they're scheduled for. They're up members first right now. Appreciate all the channel members and the new folks that have joined in the last week or so. Yeah, we'll get the Tableau going. We'll probably talk Switch and Tableau next week, and keep on going from there. And I do want to have an event. So I know that like the diehards are the folks that are still left here. And I will say in general, like if people are interested to demo these spaces, I know like, Scott Newby, Michael, Youthman, those guys are open to having people come by and experience their systems and hang out and check stuff out. I want to publicize that a little bit more, particularly now that I've got these spaces like the theater. The theater is pinnacle. Anything else that I'm going to do is extra pinnacle. Now the living room is going to be pinnacle. These are my demo spaces. This is an experience center. This is so I welcome folks. You can get in touch with me, arrange a date and time and so on. And I do want to host an event coming up. Originally, I was thinking to try to make it next weekend. That's not going to work out. But I'm thinking December-ish, mid-December, for like a home theater event. And so anybody like qualified in the channel community and stuff, the local Michigan guys, of course, will probably make up the bulk of the attendance. But if anybody wants to travel, there's opportunities to do that. So Daddy's saying, if you get bored, you may entertain the idea of making a video measurements, connecting the speakers separately. Also, yeah, we'll see. Maybe someday I'll try around with that. Right now, like I'm kind of tired of messing with stuff again. Like I want to get back to just kind of using the system. Yeah, I still think it'd be fun to add a big sub or two in the future. I do think that the system would benefit from like one subwoofer, and I could do that. I could do it in the room. My wife might not really appreciate it, but I think it will. I think what I have will suffice. It'll be plenty for what I want out of the room, or what I want out of the system. But other folks may still have been inclined to potentially still drop a bigger sub in there, depending on your content, again, what you're using it for, et cetera, et cetera. All right, last question, then we're going to call it. What device do you use to switch from device to device? My system is all Control 4 based. So my whole home is essentially Control 4 integrated. Lights, doors, locks, all the different disparate pieces. I use a Halo remote. I have a Core 5 controller. One single Core 5 runs the entire household. And I'm back to using the Halo in the living room again now because we have the Kaleidoscape properly running in there. I've put the Apple TV remote away in the drawer with the other remotes, and I'm going back full on Halo remote use in the room. And then when we come down to the theater, I'll just bring the Halo down with me, and when we go back upstairs, take it with me for now. Don't feel a need to buy two of them for the dedicated rooms, but we'll see. All right, that's it. Thanks everybody for coming out. The scroll's been on there. I actually forgot to turn it off, so sorry if that's been annoying. Been inundated with the same message for the last half an hour, I think. If I can help anybody with anything, if all the stuff that I do inspires you, it gives you ideas, it gets you excited for this stuff, and you're looking for advice, consultation, a source to power up your systems, any of that, please give me a chance. Lend me your support, give me a chance to win your business, get in touch, check out the webpage, email me, contact questions, whatever it may be. Always welcome to do that. Please use the affiliate links as well. We're coming up into the holiday shopping season. I feel like the affiliate links have hardly been touched much lately. I almost wonder if they're broken in some ways. So let the family use them, let the wife use them. And she's ordering all the Christmas gifts. Super much appreciated for that. And yeah, so we got a lot more to talk about as we go forward. So thanks everybody for coming out. Check out, it's gonna be a big content week this week. And yeah, adding more to talk about. And I still have to swap the NAS and other things as well. So we're gonna be busy all the way through the end of the year. But thanks for watching. Come on back for more home theater discussion and fun. Have a great one.